10 and verse 2. The wicked in his pride doth persecute the poor. Let them be taken in the devices that they have imagined.
That's right. So they're going to end up trapped in their own government assistance program in the kingdom. Right? All right, so we have to stay diligent to be saved from all these issues, right? Let's get that Psalm 109, 30 and 31.
Psalm 109 and verse 30. I will greatly praise the Lord with my mouth. Yea, I will praise him among the multitude. For he shall stand at the right hand of the poor to save him from those that condemn his soul.
That's right. So we got to stay diligent, and then the Most High is going to save us. All right? So now, and then let's get Psalm 12 and 5.
Psalm chapter 12 and verse 5. For the oppression of the poor, for the sighing of the needy, now will I arise, saith the Lord. I will set him in safety from him that puffeth at him.
That's right. So the Most High is going to put in work on our behalf, right? If we're found worthy of that. You understand? All right, so let's read on.
Public assistance programs can help somewhat, yet they can simultaneously cause harm.
Right.
Research on these programs show they can help people be healthier, stay safe, or stabilize otherwise turbulent lives. SNAP is associated with reduced child hospitalization. WIC is associated with reduction in stress, preterm birth, and underweight issues. Housing subsidies protected children from being underweight, and energy assistance promoted children development.
You see, so all of these various programs started out with a noble aspirations, right? They had a noble goal in mind, and each benefit, had a specific area that need that it was supposed to be meeting. But why are we talking about in past tense, right? Because that's no longer the focus, right? It's not for your benefit now; it's for your destruction, right? It's essentially them giving you enough rope for you to hang yourself. Right? And our people's gladly taking as much rope as they can handle. Alright, so let's read on.
Some people refer to public assistance, which includes many programs such as housing assistance, energy assistance, SNAP, Medicare, and TANF, TAF, as a safety net. But this term is inadequate. It is not woven together like a net that catches people as they fall toward deprivation. One staff member from my team prefers to call it the safety floor, because when you are in that system, you are close to rock bottom. There is nothing safe about it. It is inadequate at best. At worst, it's a basement floor that leaks sewage, equipped with chains to imprison women and children.
In other words, being in a government assistance program is not where you want to be. But a lot of our people get sold that false dream, particularly the so-called young black women, black girls, right? Oh, girl, just have you a baby, and then you can get your own apartment. Yeah. Right? And they continue to do that over, wait till they got 8 kids. Right? And they don't care who the daddy is. Who's going to give me a sperm donation so I can keep my apartment? And then when these kids grow up, they don't want nothing to do with these people, right? Because these people are being selfish, stingy. They're not parenting, they're not being loving, and that's wicked, man. But that's the mindset you get growing up in Babylon, the great whore. Right? So read on.
To participate in most public assistance programs, one needs to demonstrate need or eligibility. This is mostly achieved through prove a person that has a low Slovakia, through proving a person that has a low enough income in comparison to the centrum of the federal poverty line. This is a level of income that indicates whether a person is eligible for support. It is based solely on the supposed cost of food, income, and family size. The poverty line is calculated from an outdated back-of-the-napkin measure based on the cost of food from the 1960s.
So if you just think about the price of food in 1960 versus today, and that's one of the calculations they use to decide whether you're eligible or not. You already know they're just picking and choosing whoever they want, right? Read on.
These days, food is a much smaller share of the family budget compared to 50 years ago. Yet the federal government refuses to change its multiplier to match the times.
Read that next part.
Rather than multiplying the cost of food by 3 to get the federal poverty level, the multiplier should be 7.8.
Should be 7.8, but they're using a multiplier to figure your eligibility by 3, which is from the 1960s, right? You think that hasn't came up before? But who is the ones getting caught in this? Because the thing is, when you're looking at a poverty level that's that low, and once you get on assistance, you'll never make it off. Right? Because you don't have any, you're not having any skills, and also the amount that they give you for assistance has got to be super low. See that? It's not really enough to live off of. That's why they got to pay your rent and bills. They should just be able to give you some support, and you should be able to pay your own rent and bills, right? But it's not for your benefit, people. It's for your destruction. Okay? Let's read on.
Consider that in 2022. The federal poverty level for a family of 2 was $17,420. Multiply the cost of food by 7.8 will calculate the federal poverty level to $45,292. If the federal government based the calculation on reality, millions more people will be eligible to receive support and food insecurity.
And that's why they don't want it to happen, right? Because guess who those people are going to be? Blacks and Hispanics, right? And they don't want to help that many of y'all, right? So read on.
Will be considerably lower because many people will get necessary assistance. But the U.S. government, stuck deep in the past, insists on using the inaccurate calculation that undermines people and keeps them impoverished.
That's right. Stuck in the past, right? Make America great again. Stuck in the past. See? So let's get Psalm 64 and 5.
Psalm chapter 64 and verse 5. They encourage themselves in an evil matter. They commune of laying snares privately. They say, who shall see them?
That's right. Who's going to see us not changing these calculations for over 40, 50, 60 years? Right? Oh, nobody's paying attention to that. But they commune together to oppress the poor privately. And that's what's going on, people. But our people still think, oh no, there's nothing wrong. White man's perfectly fine. No, the blacks, I'm more worried about the black man than the white man, all this and that. Yeah, because they told you that. You're not using your own brain, people. Just use your eyes and ears. Okay? Let's read on.
Interaction at the county assistant offices are described as stressful and humiliating. There is insult on people times too. Many participants have complained that the caseworkers are incompetent and mean.
That's right, because it's the government. They're just an offshoot of the government, right? And so let's see why that is. Give me Proverbs 29 and 2.
Proverbs chapter 29 and verse 2. When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. But when the wicked beareth rule, the people mourn.
That's right. And the wicked are in control of the government assistance program. That's why they make it a terrible experience for you, right? Even though, I mean, why it's not coming out of their pocket? Why are they being so mean and hateful, right? And make you feel humiliated, right? Because that's the way the program was designed. Okay? So-called white man, he can go get assistance. He doesn't have to kick his, he doesn't have to leave the house with his wife and children, right? But they made sure that, you know, in the infancy of these programs, in order to get assistance, you got to get rid of your family, or you got to get rid of the leader of your family, right? It's wicked. All right, let's read on and finish this now.
To receive TAF benefits from Pennsylvania, most parents must prove they are looking for work by documenting every hour of a search. They are required to submit a form that describes with whom they spoke, the number they called, and the outcome.
Right. So, jumping through all these hoops to be able to get some help. You know, the help that's supposed to be there for you. All right. Let's see what else.
That record must be then be scanned and entered into a database by a county assistant staff person every week. If a person does not do this, or if there is an error by the staff person, the state may yet again send them a bill in all capital letters saying they owe the state money. They will then take dollars out of the next month's grant, or the caregiver must get they TAP benefits cut off, potentially leaving them and their kids hungry, unable to pay rent, or worse, homeless.
See? So they make you go through so many hoops just to get your hand out. When are you going to have time to find a job? You know? You can't actually actively go out there and look for a job because you're too busy proving to them that you're trying to find a job. I mean, so these systems are not set up for the benefit of the people who rely on the systems. Okay? So we don't.
Systematically, discrimination is built into staff structure. Welfare officers push recipients into low-wage jobs with unpredictable hours and no health benefits or sick leave. This happened because the federal government mandates require that a certain number of people receiving TAF must enter the formal workforce every month. Contractors risk losing funding if they fail to place people in jobs. Any job, regardless of pay or quality, or force them out of TAP altogether, so they don't need to distract from the ever-important work participation rate. If TAP beneficiaries cannot find a job within about 12 weeks, they must do unpaid community service for 20 hours a week to keep receiving their meager financial grant.
See that? And it's say right there that the amount of money they get is very meager. It's just a little bit, right? It's not substantial. Okay? But they got a list of jobs there. And they're deciding what job to give you, right? And you think it does, you know, when you come in and you look like us versus you coming in looking like them, you think that doesn't have any bearing on what job you're offered, right? Or whether your job, the job that you're offering or being offered has any benefits or health insurance or not? Of course, no, they're going to give you the garbage jobs, right? Because they don't respect or love us. So that's why we got to respect and love ourselves, right? So, where we at? Okay, so yeah, we're going to just get into this third article. It's a lot shorter. All right, so this right here, more issues facing the Israelites. Okay, so this right here is just general topics, particularly talking about the Northern Kingdom Israelites, right? So-called Hispanics and North American Indians, Central and South Americans, right? All right, so let's get into this.
Weekly U.S.-Mexican border update. Accumulating accounts of cruel and possibly unlawful removals and detention. The administration has begun prosecuting undocumented migrants who failed to register while issuing an executive order about so-called sanctuary cities and advancing plans to send third country migrants to Libya and Rwanda.
See that? They want to ship y'all off to Libya and Rwanda. Now, how you going to have your family members to come visit you while you're in detention when you're in another country? They don't give a damn about that, right? Because they don't care about you, right? A far-off country where they don't even speak the language, right? That's what the leaders and the higher ups of America have in store for you if they could get it their way, right? Read on.
ICE deported a Honduran mother with a 2-year-old USA citizen son on April the 25th.
Right? So this son, the son that got deported is a U.S. citizen. Read on.
Shortly after, officials told her to bring her children with her to schedule a check-in in New Orleans.
That's the trick right there. They tricked her.
The agency took the mother into custody and moved to deport her, giving her just 2 minutes to talk with the child's father about his future.
Read that last part again, slow, right? This is the respect that you get from the other nations as an Israelite.
The agency took the mother into custody and moved to deport her, giving her just 2 minutes to talk with the child's father about his future.
They only gave this lady 2 minutes to talk to her father about what they're going to do about the child and his future before they deported her, right? That's because they hate us, right? They hate the Israelites. Read on.
At every single point, ICE denied anybody the ability to know where their family was, denied everybody the ability to contact with them and communicate with them.
Let's get Psalm 140 and 5.
Psalm chapter 140 and verse 5. The proud have hid a snare for me and cords. They have spread a net by the wayside. They have set dens for me.
That's right. Hey, they set up traps, right? They try to catch us in snares, right? So this sister got caught up. Read on.
The father filed an emergency petition in the Federal Judicial Western District of Louisiana on April 24th. The child was put on a plane to Honduras the next morning before the court opened.
You hear that? Really, let's read that last sentence again too, man. This is just egregious, right? Go ahead.
The child was put on a plane to Honduras the next morning before the court opened.
Right, but they're supposed to be meeting to have a court case to decide what they're going to do with the kid. But before the court even opened, they already had him on a plane. And he's not on the plane with his mom, or she's already gone. So this kid is on a plane by himself to a place that he was born in America. See that? Read on.
This reminds me of the slave trade, how they separated a woman family, separated the woman from the child. Now, you would think, just keep the child, would be easy to keep the child and mother together and ship it together? But that's what they do, man. That's evil as hell.
That's right. So now you got a child that you got to care for, right? Wouldn't it be easier to let that child's mother care for him? But, this way, you can do whatever you want with the child, Child's gonna be barely eating. You're gonna fill him up with Takis and Dr. Pepper, right? When this child's usually eating fruits and vegetables. You know what I'm saying? Terrible.
And to be honest with you, this mother probably, unfortunately, will never see a child again. They probably take that child and sex slave the child. You know what I'm saying? Take the child and have sex with it, and sacrifice. Trafficking, there you go. Human trafficking, that's the word we're looking for.
You can almost guarantee it, man. It's terrible. All right, let's read on.
The Washington Post reported this raised strong concerns, including from the judge assigned to the case, a Trump importee, that Trump administration removed a U.S. citizen child from the country against one parent's wishes. Also on April 25th, ICE deported another Honduran mother from New Orleans with 2 U.S. citizen children, aged 4 and 7. The agency, which also apprehended the mother at a scheduled check-in, was fully aware that the 4-year-old had metastatic cancer and were receiving treatment in the United States. Not only did they deport this family against the mother's wishes, they were deported without the child medication.
See that? That's a death sentence for that child. You think they care? You think that nobody told them about that? They said they were fully aware. But they hate you, so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native man, right? So you need to realize that and start seeking out your own neighbors, your fellow Israelites, and building relationships with them, right? Relationships in righteousness, right? All right, so we don't.
In addition to the massive appropriations listed below, the Judicial Committee bill seeks to impose a long list of application fees charged to migrants. Asylum seekers will have paid $1,000 to enter the system. Those receiving humanitarian parole will similarly have to pay $1,000. Recipients of temporary protective statuses will be charged $500. Applicants for work authorization would need $550. Sponsors of unoccupied children will have to pay $3,500.
$3,500. And you know, I mean, that's great, isn't it? Because isn't that the one thing that every migrant comes over here with is thousands of dollars to waste? Just thousands of dollars to give away? No, man, that's the reason they coming over here, because they ain't got nothing. So now we're gonna start charging them thousands of dollars. Man, this place is it's terrible. It's just crazy.
I want to ask the so-called white man and Mr. Donald Trump, when those nasty South Africans, the white South Africans came to America, did they have paid money? Did they have paid money to come to their country? And they claim they were being murdered, but the South African president said that's a damn lie. He said it was actually more Black Africans that died than white farmers. But it's not about lies, okay? Now you know that the so-called white man hates the Hispanic people, the Latinos.
That's right. It's a perpetual hatred, right? Never-ending hatred. All right, so now let's read just a couple of these things that are on this bill, right? So we're looking at over $100 million budgeted in ways, plots, and plans to oppress and give hell to the Northern Kingdom Israelites, particularly so-called tribe of Issachar. Issachar is so-called Mexicans, right? So let's read a couple of these items here.
Border and migration related items in the bill, over $100 million. $46.5 billion for border barrier construction. $45 billion for adult and family detention, enough to detain 100,000 people at a time.
$45 billion to lock up and hold so-called Mexicans. But yet and still, we ain't got money. We got schools with no teachers in them.
Right.
And they can't pay them no more. You got kids out here that ain't eating. People can't pay their grocery bill, but the government won't subsidize that. But they will. They got plenty enough money to keep the Mexicans locked up. And what did the Mexicans do wrong? They being Mexican, being the Israelites. That's the problem. They're not Mexican. They're the tribe of Issachar from the nation of Israel. That's the only thing they've done wrong, according to the so-called white man, right? And having this land before the white man came. The white man won't let them die it down, boy. So anyway, let's go.
And for how long we were prophesizing that we're going to put blacks and Hispanics in concentration camps in America? And now you see this bill, we didn't write this article. Right. They're going to spend $45 billion for 100,000 detention camps to lock at a time, to lock Hispanics up. They reopened that jail cell Alcatraz in the West Coast. Right. And they shipping Hispanics to Rwanda and was another African country in Libya. But I thought that America was enemies against the Libyans. Let you know that these nations are all against the Israelites. Right. Okay, like it said in the book of Psalms, the 83rd chapter. Right. They all hate each other, but they come against to oppress the Israelites. Now, Libya is an enemy of the United States, so why would they ship Mexicans over to Libya? So all hell is going to break loose in America. And you know what's going to set up? These damn race riots, where it said in the book of Micah, I think the 5th chapter, that it's going to be race riots out here. and blacks and Hispanics gonna put a foot up your damn ass, man.
That's right.
Okay, that's coming. That's gonna come very soon.
Beautiful.
That's it. Hey, so, yeah, all right.
14.40 billion for transportation and removal of deportees. Okay. Oh, let me finish that. 45 billion for adult and family detention, enough to detain 100,000 people at a time. The New York Times reported in early April that ICE had already requested proposals from contractors who run detention facilities.
This is not just some vague possibility. People